What's good, people? This is the Rap Roundtable. Your boy Jarv here, Sincere the Rap Snob, Dini the Balance, the homie Mace. We just want to make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment, help us get our numbers up. We're trying to get 2,000 subs, 5,000. Y'all know how this go. If y'all think we're good and y'all love the content, some of y'all always say, yo, how come y'all don't have more views? It's because y'all don't sub. So make sure y'all do that and tap in with us. Peace.
The Rap Roundtable.
Yes, sir. The Rap Roundtable is here. Episode 42. We appreciate the viewers, the people, the real ride or dies, the ones who are locked in with us for real, and not looking for a particular thing. No shade. It's your boy Jarv here alongside Sincere the Rap Snob.
What up, what up?
Alongside Dini the Balance.
Force be with you.
You can find a Rap Roundtable on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, wherever there's podcasts, wherever there's the socials, wherever there's promos. If you're on the train in New York City, you see a sticker, we're there too. You know where to find us. You know the vibes.
We are
Have to find my drop.
tonight's entertainment.
Fellas,
Yep.
by comparison, I would say there's a little more news this week as opposed to 41, where it was kind of slow, but we made some magic happen.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Some of y'all out there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you watching this and you haven't watched 41,
You played
go
yourself.
run 41.
Run it back.
And you played yourself, but you can make it up. you can make up for your mistakes.
Redemption.
That's a fact. 41 is one of our better episodes. And you guys, because we're not talking about your favorite rapper, it was like, you know what? we don't want to hear from these guys. It's almost like they want us to talk about that guy and speak badly so that they can be upset. Like, it's called like hate watching, I guess.
Yeah,
They want to be upset.
Yeah.
We come in peace unless you piss us off. You know what I mean?
Energy's beautiful here.
But more importantly, Tana Talk 2 is out. Tana Talk 4, is out. Benny the Butcher
Yes.
delivered on his promise to drop a fire album.
Yeah.
The people are talking. We talked about it. We did our reaction. Now it's time for us to get a little more in depth because that's what we do here at the Rap Roundtable. We like to dig beneath the surface. Pause. We like to get with the nuance and figure some things out and give some opinions that you disagree with initially, and then a few months later you realize, yo, these dudes were right. So a lot of the talk in the lead up to Tana Talk 4 was about the production.
Yeah.
Who was on the boards? Who was making the beats? The acoustics
Yes.
for Tana Talk 4.
Yeah, that's
You're
my alley.
you're the producer of the Rap Roundtable.
Yeah.
You made the beat that's playing right now. Fire. If you're a rapper, we see in the comments a few people have been inquiring about your beats. He made them. Every beat
Yes,
you
sir.
hear on this podcast.
Every last one of them.
That's
Tap
him.
in.
Holla at me.
All fire.
Let's start with the production. I've seen some comments that said some people are disappointed with the production. Some people think the production is fire. What are your thoughts on the beat selection for Tana Talk 4?
So again, we're all kind of like slave to, the most recent stuff that we've heard that's been out there. Coming off of the Conway project, and obviously, we're gonna compare them. They're in the same camp. They just dropped back to back. I was happy with the beats. I was happy with the beat selection. I was happy with the tone, the acoustics of it. It could have used some variety.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, because it's just Derringer and Alchemist on the boards all the way through. But I can't complain too much because they gave us some heat. There was a couple joints, and again, we did a whole reaction video. If you haven't seen that, by the time this drops, go tap into that. It's on our channel. But we did a reaction like as soon as it dropped. And so I'm going through it track by track. And like I said in that video, and I still feel that way, after about track 6, I think the beats start declining. But Benny's still giving you bars.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like, it's one of those situations where it's like, what's more important, the bars or the beats? That debate is always going to happen. But if the beats if they don't get your attention like right off the bat, it's going to be at least for me, it's going to be hard for me to pay attention to the song and the bars all the way through and want to listen to a song all the way to the end. So songs like what's this one? Thowy's Revenge. Uncle Bun.
Uncle Bun.
38 Special did his thing, but that, that Derringer beat, Billy Joel, you know what I mean? There was a couple joints.
I like Billy Joel.
Damn, son.
I don't know, man.
A lot of ums and uhs happening here.
Well, this was like more than halfway through the project. Like I said, the first half was super strong, a lot of heat, but I don't know. I think it was another one of those situations where like just the same sound throughout the whole album.
Right.
It's a double-edged sword. It could, because you know what I mean.
Work.
It could be cohesive, but it could also be monotonous. And so I think by like track 7, 8, 9, some of those beats started sounding a little monotonous.
Wow.
That's just me.
Wow.
A little bit, not too much.
That's crazy.
Not
bro.
to where I'm gonna say, oh, like that's the album's trash now. Not like that, but it could have used a little bit of extra variety.
Some dexterity, you would say?
A little bit.
All right, Deanie, talk to me. What do you think about the production on this project?
I thought the production was pretty good. I thought Derringer redeemed himself from the Conway project. I thought in the same way I felt Conway did on his album, not to segue to Conway, but I felt Benny's bars took even decent beats and just made great songs because the bars were just so tough. The song structure was so tough. The lessons, the jewels, the stories were so tough.
Right.
Just the guidelines of hustling in and of itself was so tough. The production played well into that. Yes, it was a little monotonous, but I felt like with the variety of MCs you had, the different, you had Boldy, you had Conway. It still came off as a great vibe.
Okay. I think we talked about it on the reaction. This is as close to a concept project as we can get as far as the subject matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess because of the subject matter, the content, whatever you want to call it, it required a certain type of beat. It was street tales.
Oh.
It was first person perspectives, taking you right into the trenches of what it is to be a hustler, to be a street nigga, to be a coke dealer, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? We are sidewalk niggas. But Benny's goal was to take us as close as we can get as consumers to what his lifestyle was prior to this rap shit.
We were on the corner for a while.
There you go.
for
So when I think about that aspect of it, I'm not mad at the beat selection. He was going for a certain tone. It's like, the Batman is out. When everything down from the visuals to the score of the movie is supposed to set a tone. And I think he was going for that. Alchemist is, although he's not a New York nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Captures it.
He captures the score of New York City very well.
He's always
he's absolutely. And I think, him being the lead producer on this project, he's good at setting a certain tone. I'm not mad at that. What I'm mad at is the presence of Derringer on this project.
Oof.
And it's
again?
Yeah. And it's like, it's not because Derringer is bad. Because the thing is, we have to explain ourselves on this podcast because we expect people to understand what we're saying, but they just tell us what we're saying when we're not saying that. So what I'm saying is, Derringer is not bad. He's part of the reason why Griselda is where they are today. But everything has their expiration dates. And when I listen to Tana Talk 4, there's a clear divide as far as skill level between Derringer and Alchemist. Every Alchemist beat, in my opinion, I can listen to it on the instrumental tape and be good. It's fire.
Yeah.
I feel like the level of beat making dips with every Derringer beat. I told y'all after we did the reaction, it's like Derringer and Alchemist is like having an NBA dude and a dude from Rucker Park. Both guys are really good at basketball, but there are levels to what good is when you talk about NBA dudes and guys who go to your local rec leagues or go to the Rucker, so on and so forth. Like Alchemist is knocking the socks off of Derringer beat after beat after beat. If you look at this 12-track project, I'm counting it off right now. I think Alchemist has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 12. Derringer has 5. And it's not close. It's not 7 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Like a couple of these Derringer beats, in my opinion, count for 2.
We talked about that on the pod last time, where maybe Derringer could still be a part of the project, but not be the mainstay of who makes all the beats.
To me, at this point, and I sat to say it, I talked to Jav. Sincere's not saying it, Deanie's not saying it. I'm saying it. At this point, we've reached the level of Griselda being so big that we have to start treating Derringer as a nostalgia act. Like if you do a Griselda-esque album, or like Westside does an album, Benny, Conway, whoever, you get a Derringer beat for the feels. You know what I'm saying? You get maybe 1 or 2 Derringer beats. If you do like a 15-track album, maybe there's 2 Derringer beats on there because he has to be there. But to me, he's not Just Blaze. They tried to treat us like the Blueprint, like this was Just Blaze, Kanye ain't Biggie, these niggas. Nah, there was no the levels. These were the levels. Alchemist, Derringer, and to me, at a certain point, as Benny becomes a megastar, we got megastar, not superstar, megastar. You need to start understanding that to be the level that you talk about, Benny, you can't do fan service tapes anymore. We don't want you on Derringer beats anymore. After you gave us Benny and Hit Boy, you can't go back to Derringer. Am I wrong in saying that?
Give us a little street tape when he drops
a song or two.
And let's not forget, and some people might get mad out there, but Benny and Harry Fraud.
Yo, okay, Sin, I appreciate you saying that.
Okay.
Because a year ago, you had your concerns about what Harry Fraud would do with Benny.
And then I heard it.
And I feel like with every tape, remember we talked about it with the last episode with Conway, where Benny sonically is doing things and it's making it tough for Conway to keep going back to Derringer.
Yeah.
In fact, it's making it hard for Benny to go back to Derringer. Because if you gave us a Hit Boy album and then a Harry Fraud tape, and then you went back and you gave Derringer 5 tracks, it's hard to go back to that after you gave us something more dynamic. Yeah. And that's what this tape is missing. There's nothing dynamic beat-wise. There's fire beats, but there's nothing big. There's no big soundscapes, to use a sincere word, on this project at all.
All right, maybe we're just too bedazzled by how mid the beats were on the Conway project that these better beats are like.
No, I think, and I said it before, and I talk about it all the time, but I'm gonna keep saying it. Mixing matters. Engineers matter. The engineers that are in charge of bringing those beats to life, like, you know what I mean? When you got the layers in the beats and you pad those layers, you make them nice and cushy and make that shit like make love to your ears. Like that shit is important, yo. And you know what I mean? Like we're gonna come back to this topic later on when we talk about life after death, because it's coming up on 25 years. You know what I mean? But when I listen to certain albums, you know what I mean? The grit can be there, but like there's an art to bringing the shine out of the grit. You know what I mean? It's
the gloss on the grit.
But you know what I mean? But it's almost like, you know, like taking coal and making it a diamond. Like there's an art to that. And I think that with the Conway record, there was definitely some songs that you could hear. You're like, oh, okay, they took their time to like really, you know, mix and master this. But there was some other joints that sounded like demo material. And with this one, even if the beats weren't like, you know, extra stellar,
right?
The level of mixing and mastering and post production brought that, you know, it elevated the beats. Even the beats that were a little lackluster, they were still elevated, and I appreciate that. That's one of the big things that I appreciate about this project is that attention to, you know, elevating the music.
One thing I'll say about Benny as well with this project, he's become more of a household name. You know, definitely. If you go on Google and you type in Benny the Butcher is one of your top searches now. You know, he's growing as far as presence. I appreciate the fact that he hasn't gotten arrogant on us. I don't really, even if he is a cocky motherfucker in real life, on these projects, he's still very much introspective. And it's like, there's a certain sincerity to what he's talking about. Even his features, no one felt larger than life on this project. It felt like they really took their time, crafted their bars, and wanted to deliver a message. You know what I mean? And it's like, I think, Sin, you talked about it in the past about like Jay being vulnerable, but in a certain kind of
but not
way.
Sentimental.
Not sentimental.
Right.
I got a lot of sentimental on this project. Am I reaching by saying that, or do you agree with the sentimentalities of this project?
I don't see, again, like when I think sentimental, I'm thinking like that like Conway's song Stressed off of his album.
Okay.
When I'm thinking like you digging real deep, there's like there's you know what I mean? There's there's being aware of certain things that you've been through in your life and being able to speak on them like sincerely and earnestly. And then it's a whole other thing to like really live in that space.
Right.
And I feel like, you know what I mean, Conway, I feel like for better or worse, lives in that space when he's able to like harness that and put it into song form. Right. It's fucking magical. But then other times it's like that can also hold an artist back. And I feel that Benny really straddles that line between living in that space or just being able to be aware of it and tap into it when he needs to, but not stay there too long, because if you stay there too long, that shit is gonna be like a shackle around your ankle.
True.
And then you can't be the best you that you're supposed to be.
I will say, I know we pass it to Dean in a second, but what I'll say is he's still speaking as if he's there. He's not speaking in past tense yet. I'm looking forward to when Benny gets more experience as this version of himself with the fame, the money, the broken relationships, what Benny the Butcher will sound like as he gets those experiences and how he'll tie that in to his experiences in the streets. What do you think about the subject matter on this project, Deanie, as far as like the realness, how sentimental it is? When you heard it, what did you take away from it?
All right, so it's not more of a sentimentality. It's more of a how would I word this? It's more like the most uncompassionate compassion, if that makes any sense. It's like there's a form of regret, but at the same time, there's no regret. You know,
it's definitely some little nigga energy too. Like he's talking to us like we little bruh on the project.
But you know, when you listen to an artist, you get like even Conway. I can hear in some songs Conway would do things different. I feel like when I listen to Benny's like, fuck that. I'll do everything exactly the way it is, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
It is what it is. In order for me to live this life, even he had a bar about it when he said, you look at us like fools because we drive around in the big car with the chains. But if shit goes left, we just pawn it all and be right back on the mall.
Go back right in the streets.
You know what I'm saying? So it's almost the way I feel about Pusha T in the sense of, I don't know if you remember that line. Damn, how's this shit go? With this in mind, I still didn't quit, and that's how I know that I ain't shit. It's like that. Like you know what you're doing is heinous.
Right.
But that dollar's just calling you, that power's calling you, that status is calling you, that just
in that realm, what is heinous? That's really what the question is.
No codes.
You did like the rules that we abide by don't apply. You feel me? I mean, I'm not mad at Tana Talk 4. What I'll say is overall, and I'll put a bow on this topic like this. He said it will be the album of the year. In my opinion, 1 through 12, it didn't live up to expectations. This is not album of the year material.
It leaves it open.
Yeah.
It leaves it open.
You think Pusha T gonna sneak in on that?
From the 2 tracks I heard, it's up there.
I don't know. I think the second, third, and fourth quarter is gonna have a lot to say because based on Diet Coke, but hear me clearly.
You're gonna keep hating on Diet Coke, man.
I love Diet Coke.
You're gonna stop doing that, man.
That record is fire,
bro.
I'm not
crazy,
saying
bro.
it's not fire. It's just not as fire as y'all say it is.
The energy that shit captures to me.
It's not
just,
Blue Flame. You know what I mean?
It's
like hear me clearly. It's Blue Flame, bro.
It's fire. That's more darkness stuff.
That is expert Shogun level rap. Like
you didn't feel like that on Diet Coke though?
Nah,
especially capturing the Biggie S vibes.
Which one? What is the better song, bro? Is Biggie vibes on fucking Hear Me, bro?
It is.
First verse. To me, the first verse is Biggie. Like you could just do a voice changer and change Push's voice into Big, and that's big, bro.
It's the energy I felt off Diet Coke.
Shit. Let's shift gears, fellas. We saw a post talking about, I forgot who posted it, but whoever you are, shout out to you. Best 4-year run in rap history. There have been a lot of golden eras. You want to debate, was it the late 80s, the early 90s, the mid 90s, whatever, the Shiny Shoe era, whatever made you love rap. Boom. We're not here to judge. People in the South feel like they're golden eras right now. You know what I'm saying? So, people in the South.
Couldn't be me.
New York bias too on the way. So the question I have for the table is, we've lived through basically almost the entirety of rap's existence. What 4-year run was the best 4-year run in rap history, in your opinion? Again, it's our opinions. We're not speaking as experts telling you should agree with us. We're making choices because we love rap. Dini, I come to you first.
Speak for yourself. My shit is fact.
Well, there you go. You are the rap snob. Dini, what 4-year pocket is, in your opinion, the best 4-year run in hip hop history?
Don't kill me for this, y'all, but I'm going with what I'm going with, man. I got
the play already.
I got 99 to 2003 Hov.
Oh my
Just hold,
God.
not like just rap, not the artist, just like the whole culture, bro.
Oh, I picked the artist. I had everything
Nah,
written down. I had
rap.
albums.
Best 4-year run in rap.
Oh, in hip hop itself.
Yeah. Think about that. Sincere.
Yeah. I went with an artist's 4-year run.
I was about to say, if your year starts with 2000, I feel sorry for you.
Wow, bro. That's crazy, bro.
Word. Nah, I'm gonna have to go with, and this took a little bit of thinking.
Yeah.
It was like I could go 1 year one way or 1 year the other way, but eventually I decided on 94 to 97.
Oh.
Not 98?
Now, not 98 because that makes it 5 years.
You said 94 to
90, 94, 95,
96,
96, 97.
Copy.
That's 4 years, right? So a lot of times when you see these topics, circulating Twitter and the social medias and whatnot, they'll give you an era that's actually 5 years and not 4.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say 94 to 98 or 98 to 2002, whatever. 94, you get Illmatic and Ready to Die. And honestly, anything beyond that in 94 is just extracurricular.
filler.
You don't even need nothing beyond Illmatic and Ready to Die. Like Nas and Big first albums,
Heavy.
stupid. But you still got Outkast, Southern Playalistic. You got Method Man to Cal. You got Hard to Earn from Gangstar. You even got J. Rue the Damager. I know, we don't think of him as like, a big rap star, but
depending on a certain age group, J. Rue the Damager is very important.
But exactly, but
well
The
respected.
Sun Rises in the East, produced entirely by DJ Premier. Crazy. That should go so crazy. Then we get to 95. Come on. 95.
The 95, 96 two-piece
95.
is very...
Only built for Cuban links.
Yeah.
And the infamous
Yeah.
Liquid Swords.
Yeah.
Plus, Biggie didn't drop his own album, but he's running the airwaves,
Yeah.
bro.
Did Junior Mafia drop that
Junior
year?
Mafia
Junior
dropped
Mafia.
that year. So we're getting singles from Ready to Die because it dropped late 94. We got the One More Chance remix.
Oh.
We got Who Shot Ya?
Yes.
Who that originally was a Lucy, and then like years later, like decades
Shot
later,
Ya?
they ended up. Now I can't help but think of like Megan Thee Stallion all the
shot
time. Jesus Christ, you guys have ruined me. But yeah, decades later they added it to the end of the album. But originally it was a Lucy. It was not on Ready to Die. For you youngins out there who go into the streams and see Who Shot Ya at the end, that was not originally on the album. It was just a Lucy single out there.
Lore made it part of the album.
Right. And then you had Players Anthem and you had Get Money. So Big was all over the airwaves in 95, even though he didn't drop an album that year. What else? Then getting to 96, It Was Written, Ready to Die, came out a week apart from each other. A week apart. Crazy. Iron Man, Hell on Earth, The Score. Then 97, Life After Death, No Way Out, Wu-Tang Forever, The War Report. That put up your 4-year run. Put up any era. I dare y'all.
Wow.
You know
You
what?
talking his shit.
Wow,
I would
bro.
take
That's
that.
crazy, bro.
And I would raise you 95 to 98.
Okay. State your claim.
You know? All right, so you already gave us the 96, 97 vibe, you know? And 95.
Yeah.
But the rundown in 98, man, I mean, We got Hove, Hard Knock Life. We got Most Def, Talib Kweli. Black Star. We got Capital Punishment by Pun. Moment of Truth by Gangstar. Quimini for all the Outkast heads that don't know their lyrics. We got The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. We got It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Cannabis had a good album. Well, I'm gonna say good, but it was lyrical as hell. Flesh of My Flesh. DMX did 2 in 1 year. You dig? RZA had Bobby Digital. Don Cartagena from I mean, come on, man.
98 was heavy.
Pieces of Man. Nori's greatest album.
98 was heavy, but then we have to give up 94. We have to give up Illmatic and Ready to Die. I'm not doing that.
90,
I'm not doing that.
Honestly, the mid to late 90s, you know what? As far as history goes, now let's say if we want to do 5-year run and throw 98 into Sincere's pick, that pocket right there is there's no better era. Again, the people in the South are gonna disagree with us because this is their time, but creatively, record sales, culturally, 94 through 98 set the tone for what the industry is. You know, it got bastardized by these new gatekeepers. Fair is fair, but for a moment, that was the standard. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if you came up in that time, and we argue about it in the past, off wax, that was the, I would say, the peak of, in order to be recognized, you had to be nice. There's not many whack rappers. You had guys who were not as good as, but there weren't many whack notable rappers outside of maybe Diddy who were getting regular love on the radio. Yeah. All these rappers were good. They might have sold out, but they were good at what the fuck they did. My pick is tough. Like, Sincere kind of changed the dynamic, but I see what he did and it made sense. Because at first I was going to make one pick, but then the math made sense. My pick is 1998 through 2001. So the caveat, is a lot of it is, this is more of an emotional pick than a factual pick. I'm thinking of, as far as like how a nigga felt when he was listening to what was going on. Like, you had the tail end of the Shiny Suit era. Mm-hmm. You had my favorite rapper, Jay-Z, coming into his own as a superstar. The rapper we know today, you could say started in 98 as far as the echelon. To me, there's no summer better than Nori screaming what on the radio. Yeah. Because a lot of this, for us, it wasn't no streaming. It wasn't no phones, fellas, ladies.
You had to be there.
You had to be on a radio.
Facts.
If Angie Ma or Flex said that this shit was important, or Enough or The Rush Hour said this shit was important, that song mattered. If you got in that rotation, that shit mattered. If motherfucking what was his name again?
Biggie's
Mr. C.
There you go.
If Mr. C spun your shit, it mattered. You know what I'm saying? 98, a big year. I loved it. I loved what Mace was doing in 98. All right. Okay. even if Mace wasn't that good of a rapper, you think about some of the songs that Mace was affiliated with. Me being in the 8th grade, and you can come all you want to, hum all you want to. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like all the girls in my junior high school knew the words to that song.
Unescapable music, bro.
Then you had DMX. Bro. I think, was it LL lurking around in 98 too? Or was that 99? You had a nice smorgasbord. 5, 4,
3, 2, 1, I think. 98, right?
You had a nice smorgasbord of all genres at the time, before there was a thing as called a subgenre of hip-hop happening in 98. Then you had the victory lap for Jay-Z after Hard Knock Life in 99. Slim Shady lurking around, spitting bars, because I didn't give a fuck that he was white in 99, because niggas was because he was good and the songs were good. Then you had Nas, and you know, even if you're front on Nostradamus and I Am, there was some joints to use your point.
Still had wild joints.
Fun fact, on the soundtrack of my life, that song with Aaliyah is on there. You Won't See Me Tonight is one of my all-time favorite songs. I fucking love it. I love that song.
Really?
I love it. You had Timbo, Aaliyah, Nas.
I got Last Words as a ringtone from the Nostradamus album.
You won't see me tomorrow. That shit was fire. Bro, my issues with Nas didn't really start until 2001. You know?
The whole beef.
The whole beef.
I wonder what happened.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It happened. But at the same time, I'm still young, so I didn't know what was all world. To me, Nas was coming out again. the idea of dropping 2 albums for my young self was a novelty.
Back to back, that
Niggas
was
is dropping
fire
2 albums
too?
in 1 year.
That was fire.
These niggas was some Egyptian shit. You seen the album cover? Young and impressionable. I was impressed. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And then you go to 2000, Rockefeller starting to take over, and this is where it becomes a homer pick. Beanie Siegel dropped The Truth. Missy Elliott's doing some cool things. Lurking. The Chronic 2001 is still on this lap. I think that dropped 99, but it was still making headway. West Coast rap had a nice little bot. The West Coast Connection was linking up around that time as well. Because we're not just New York niggas. We like a little bit of everything. Outkast was in the cut somewhere around. I love me some Goody Mob back in the day. I didn't really appreciate it, but I liked what they were bringing to the table. You know what I mean? As cable television, the advent of cable TV started to grow, the BET Countdown kind of replaced what Flavor Videos was and Video Music Box was.
Exposed to new things.
Right. Rap City was blowing up. Niggas freestyling in the basement. Joe Claire disappeared and Tigger showed up. There was so many little things that was happening. And then you go to 2001. Fuck all his other albums. Jay-Z versus Nas. We're not talking about that specifically on this episode, but that really, if there was like a scale, the Jay-Z versus Nas fiasco, the Summer Jam, everything, that was all that mattered. Yeah, Ja Rule was moving units.
Hip-hop's greatest battle, I feel.
Ja Rule was moving units. To me, Clue had his best run around that time with the Stadium Series. I forgot what it was a series. Before the Stadium Series, there was another one. I forgot. Grand Theft Audio was moving during that time.
The Professional was
his album.
That was 98.
He dropped 90. He went platinum.
Which was the other one after
the Professional Part 2 drop?
Yeah, and that was.
I think that was 01 or 02. But Dini, you fucking me up
my
right
fault,
now.
bro. My fault.
You know
I'm
what I'm
trying to get my
saying?
years right.
You had all of these things going on. Fabulous is lurking. You had the Superwoman freestyle feature with Little Mo that all the girls love. Niggas was copping the patent leather, the low cut red patent leather 11s, cause Fab had it on in the fucking video. You know what I'm saying? I'm making this pick not because of like music history. I'm thinking about where the culture was right before the South took over and it got whack. Like, the shit was doing this.
Wow.
Yeah, it is what it is. I said it.
Those were not my words.
Jov said it.
Those were not Deanie's
sincere,
words.
not Deanie. I said it.
I may or may not agree, but that's neither here nor there.
You know what I mean?
He said
damn sure agree.
You know what I mean? You think about some of our favorite producers during that time. These niggas was in pockets that they've been chasing ever since. Think about what Timbaland was doing in 01. Think about what Neptunes was doing in 01. Just Blaze, Kanye. These guys were in their bag. It was real competition. I think Nori started lurking around late 01 with the Violator album that they dropped 02. A lot of shit was going on. You know what I'm saying? Sub disses. 50 was starting to bubble. I think, what year 50 dropped How to Rob?
Two.
How to Rob dropped 99 or 2000, right?
2000, yeah.
Bro, we had so much going on. Busta Rhymes making some of the best videos you ever seen.
Yeah.
The commercialization of hip hop that some people push back against. To me, I'll take what commercial rap was then as opposed to what commercial rap is now.
Yeah. I mean, and that started in 98. I get, and it's telling that my era, the era that I picked as the best 4-year run, cuts right before 98.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? Because 98 going forward, that's when like shit like Master P and Cash Money and like shit started blowing up
98,
everywhere.
Juvenile. Then Juvenile dropped 98.
98 is when you could really party though. You know
the
what I'm
whole
saying?
got on the high remix and had niggas like, what the fuck is this?
There you go.
But
Party. There you go.
But I mean, I'll say this. It was definitely an era of commercial hip hop that was still artistically exciting and innovative. Everybody's still, you know what I mean? Like people were signing, but they still wasn't trying to like necessarily bite off of each other.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I appreciate that, but still like, you know what I mean? That the era right before like it's really, really blew up in 98, like these out like again, Cuban Links, Jesus.
And for the record, Sincere mentioned 94 through 97. We got to throw Tupac in there. He was a very important piece of that puzzle. He didn't mention Tupac, and I can hear the comment section. Yeah, he was.
96?
I'm being facetious, bro.
94, 95,
So you want them to kill you with the
96?
comments. All right, kill him. He didn't mention Tupac. I was trying to
I
be the
did
good
not
guy.
mention Tupac. Yeah, no, of course. Obviously, Tupac was in the mix.
Wow,
95 and
bro.
96
That's
and
crazy,
97.
bro.
Yeah, he was in there.
Yeah, he
I mean,
was.
welcome
With
to
some
California.
classics.
What, ain't nothing but was it America's Most Wanted? Ain't nothing but a gangster party. These songs
Yeah,
happen.
all
You
that.
know what I mean?
All that.
He's a New York nigga though.
I mean, to be fair, I ain't having like no West Coast as my
well, you are
my
the rap
examples
snob.
from 94 to 97.
New York
Unapologetic. You know what I'm saying?
But I almost went with 93 to 96 because I wanted to include Doggy Style
Okay.
in 93.
That
but
was
then
a
I
very
was like,
important.
Legendary album.
Eh?
no. The album's
bro.
phenomenal.
That's
But
crazy.
also,
Huge
and
part of the
93 had
trap
Enter the
culture.
Wu-Tang.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like,
These are important albums.
94, 95, 96, 97, we got plenty of Wu-Tang.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be 93, 94, 95, 96?
Right.
So you don't need 97.
I need Life After Death, 97.
I
I need that.
Touche.
Okay.
Speaking of life after death,
Yeah.
Oh, good
sincere
segue.
with the transition. 25 years since one of the pillars of East Coast hip hop dropped. Arguably, maybe the standard album of East Coast hip hop. Some might want to say The Blueprint. Some might want to say Illmatic. These are fair arguments. But Life After Death, is there a double album as good as that? Some people say it's a lot of skips. There's an argument there that there's a lot of skips on this album. There's also an argument there that says that this is the greatest double album made by a rapper ever. Sincere the Rap Snob. You knew I was coming to you first.
Yes, man.
Life After Death 25. Let's work.
March 25th. It's still a few weeks away, but it'll be while this episode is out there before we record the next one, so we got to talk about it. 25 years since, I will quote me, I'm saying it, the greatest double album to ever come out.
Wow.
Ever.
Wow, bro.
You could talk about
That's crazy,
your,
bro.
I don't know, your Tupacs, your Wu-Tangs. Who else dropped? There was somebody else that dropped.
Don't put
a double
Jay-Z in
album.
that. Don't put Jay-Z in that. Don't put Jay-Z in that.
that's right. Jay-Z, Nas.
Blueprint 2 is not good.
Life After Death is just like
Has
an
some joints,
opus. But I want to talk real quick about, because we talk. I mean, obviously we talk as a Jay-Z fan here, Nas fan here. A lot of heavy Jay-Z Nas talk. They're still active. Biggie, has been gone for 25 years. God bless the dead. But we don't talk enough about the glow up that Big had between Ready to Die
Oh, yes.
and Life After Death.
A believable glow up at that.
Bro, like, I was just listening to those two albums back to back, and as much as I love Ready to Die and its grittiness, its griminess, the street tales, there's just a level of production and expertise rap that is on Life After Death that to me is just like, there's never been anything before it like that. There's never been anything since that like it. Since.
Wow.
In terms
Wow,
of like,
bro.
terms
That's
of-
crazy.
in terms of the level of expertise rap on that album, what's matching that?
Some
I
will
don't
say
see it.
Illmatic.
I don't no since.
Since that, it's tough. Blueprint is up there.
Expertise rap.
Rapping? Hope didn't get off on Blueprint?
He did, but it's not to that level. So the reason I say that is because like from the opening song, it always struck me as a little strange that the first song was a storytelling narrative song, because that was a little that people didn't really do that
Back when stories mattered.
back when stories mattered. But even then, like, you wouldn't kick off an album with a story. But I think it set the tone for how cinematic the album was gonna be. It set the tone for the high level of production value, not just production in terms of beats and music, but production value. Because every last bit of detail sonically Again, not just the beats and the instrumentation, but like the sound effects, the rain falling in the background, the hearing the Learjet, the dogs barking, like that level of detail is just immaculate. It really is like an hour and 49 minutes of
Cinema.
Big telling you and showing you how he's the best rapper alive in the game. And ever since then, I really don't see, I mean, we could talk about the blueprint. We could talk about My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. There's things that can contend with it, but I can't see any album like definitively being at its level or better than that. Wow. Some people might say there are some skips. You know what I mean? You have songs like Another on the second side, the second disc. Back again, for you youngins out there, this used to be a double CD, double album, double disc.
Another's heat.
Disc A and Disc B. Now in the streaming era is just like one whole album, 1 to 24. You had Nasty Boy. Nasty Boy really grew on me. The only one I could really say that like didn't totally grow on me, but I'll still listen to it is Another. Player Hater. I know there's some people that hate that joint. I loved it from the very first time I heard it. I thought it was hilarious. Big, like really just showing his range and his comedic side. Like people will listen to that song and like take it seriously, not take it as like the satire that it is.
Yes.
Like, how do you not understand that that's satire? You know what I mean? I could go on and on about this album. I love it like with all my heart. So some people will say that like the Source only gave this album 5 mics because he had just passed away. That's horseshit. They gave this album 5 mics because they didn't have 6 mics to give.
Oh wow.
This is just a magnum opus of an album. Shout out to everybody involved. Shout out to the Hitmen, D-Dot, Nassim, Stevie J, Chucky Thompson, R.I.P. Shout out to Puff for putting them together. Don't ever let anybody tell you that Puff does not deserve credit for the music that came out of Bad Boy. He absolutely, people will say he's not a real producer. That's going to be a whole other conversation, but he is absolutely 100% the mastermind behind putting Big and this team of producers together to give you this kind of masterful album. He was like the Nick Fury to the Avengers when it came to the Hitmen.
There it is.
You also had Primo and RZA and Havoc and Easy Mo B, Clark Kent and KG. Shout out to every single last engineer that worked on this album because, oh my God, sonically it's just like so godly.
I got a bar, but I'm gonna wait till it's my turn.
I'm about to wrap it up. I can't say enough about this album. B.I.G. forever, R.I.P. 25 years since one of the greatest albums and the greatest rapper to ever live dropped it.
Talk your shit, Sim. Got a poor shot. Like, Sim been waiting to do this. Sim hit me a month ago about this fucking segment. Literally a month ago, bro. Like, I'm not even bullshitting. He was like, ready to die certain 25 years. We gotta talk about it. We was on episode 40 at the time. Deanie, your thoughts?
My brother Sincere covered all the technical aspects of it, so I'm going to cover the emotional aspect of it. I'm looking at 24 records. I'm seeing like 24 singles of my life, bro.
Wow.
I mean, I remember as a kid going to parties. I remember the first time I heard Player Hater was at a party when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And everybody's listening to it, and the parents are looking around, but it's big, so you can't cut it off.
Right.
And all the kids are listening to it like, yo, this is entertaining.
Right.
And we vibed out to it. I mean, you said you don't like Another, but Another.
I'm saying in the grand scheme of the whole album.
Going back to Cali, 10 Crack for Madman.
Bro.
Notorious Thugs, a lot of people front, but at the time, bro, I was there, bro. That song was monstrous for the streets, bro. Biggie with that flow.
Who fronts on it?
What?
I've never heard anybody front on that. Bro.
People stay from, especially from the Bone Thugs aspect.
I'd like to
wild.
meet people because I've never heard that.
I argue this a lot because I love the Bone Thugs. But
Yo, if you front on that song,
It's
drop it in the comments. Let us know.
legendary,
No,
bro.
no,
Like,
but not
that
only do you
flow.
drop it in the comments, you're an ass.
Yeah, we'll flame you next episode. But that's how.
It's to second what Sin said. It might be the greatest encapsulation of the grit and the glam in one album. Like the way I feel like the only person that captures that the same way is maybe like Hove.
Right.
But the way Biggie put this together, man. I mean, the way even the party songs had deep messages, had signs, introspection, and like the sense of Benny, it was more like it was a sense of this is what I did and I'm guilty of this, but it's gotta feed my daughter.
Right.
I gotta get right. I gotta. I'm the man. I gotta glit. I gotta glam.
Right.
You know, Big was the
Sky's the limit. Talk
Big was
about
the-
that crazy.
the glittery one.
Big was the blueprint.
You know what I'm saying?
In a lot of ways for the modern New York rapper, how to be swagged out, how to have bars, how to have presence, how to have gear, how to dress, etc.
Wearing suits like Sky's the limit. The world is filled. My downfall. Long kiss. Shout out to RZA. I mean, come on, bro. Like,
Oh, one more thing to add. The greatest closeout of any album, those last
nobody.
3 tracks, My Downfall, Long Kick. Just when you thought he was getting a little soft, because it was Sky's the Limit. It was Play Hater Than Nasty Boy, Sky's the Limit, and then The World Is Filled. So you thought, he left all the hard joints in the back, right? And then he hit you with My Downfall, Last Kiss Goodnight, and You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You to close it out.
the perfect encapsulation
Phenomenal.
of the streets and the glam.
I look at this album and Sin. The first thing Sin hit on that stood out to me was the cinematic aspect of the album, and I feel like, with the exception of maybe early Eminem, like the proper use of sound effects, that was a Bad Boy staple. If you go through a lot of the late 90s Bad Boy albums, even Mace, Black Rob, G-Dep, they use sound effects perfectly. They made you, even if you didn't care about the rapper, they made you feel the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like even like you Sin talked about, like the sound, like with the plane flying and all of this and that. It's like you can hear music, or you can hear a moment in time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
An hour and 49 minutes is a long time.
It is.
And for an hour and 45 minutes, it took you on a journey, and not with just bars and beats, sound effects. All right, we going here, we doing this, the shots fired, and if it wasn't an actual sound effect, it was Diddy in the background doing something.
Right.
It was, before we had the slang calling it a vibe, Diddy was the original vibe of hip-hop. And he made sure, like, those little things, like attention to detail. Like, even now when I talk to rappers, I talk to actual rappers, and I listen to their music, I still hear those sound effects. I'm like, why don't you put that there? Why don't you do that there?
Right,
because
right.
of the influence of the Hitman, Diddy, all these guys, making sure that you had every base covered. Dolby surround sound system. Boom.
Facts.
The first time I heard this album, it was with my older cousin Wes. He had it on cassette. And I played it. And again, this is 97. I'm like, 13 at the time? I might have been 12 even, because I wasn't 13 yet. And it's like, I was super impressed by just like the beat selection. Because again, I wasn't a Biggie fan until I went backwards. I didn't care about Biggie like that. I was listening to Wu. I was listening to Prodigy and Mobb Deep.
Nas.
I didn't got it. I'm joking.
We love
I'm
Nas.
joking. It was written as fire. I love it was written.
Amazing.
But listening to the album was like, even if I was too stupid to appreciate greatness, I was hooked. Ironically, the song that made me realize, and I knew right away what it was, that this album is something else, was Player Hater. Because you have to be a certain kind of individual to do that song.
Right, exactly.
Biggie is fucking hilarious. Right? And then when I got older and I went to the studio and I was managing artists, or 2 artists actually, and understanding what it is to make that kind of song in the studio, you got to be a certain kind of person. You can't take yourself too seriously.
Right.
fully
You got to
yourself.
be free.
Yes. Player Hater, you must know this much. Like, that song is fucking amazing. If you don't like Player Hater, you're an idiot.
Come with
Because
me.
that means you didn't get the joke.
Right.
Right? Niggas bleed. To this fucking day.
Just like us.
To this day. That's one of the most referenced songs in hip-hop history, bro.
That's a fact.
And he did that on his second album. What's being lost in all of this is that Life After Death was his second album. He wasn't 5 albums in. That's 6 albums in with Life Experience.
Fucking wild.
Second album. Talking about this type of shit.
23, 24.
What the fuck? To have the dexterity to go reach out to a Bone Thugs. Shout out to Fat Joe who said he made that connection. To flex his ability to get in the pocket with a Bone Thugs.
That's fire.
Kick in the door.
And this is why I'm saying, like, Big.
How do you have all of these songs on one album?
Big was the ultimate shogun because the nerve of him to start with Somebody's Gotta Die, a storytelling track. Like, not an intro, not like, yo, I'm the nicest, y'all ain't fucking with me. No. He's showing you how y'all not fucking with him by starting off with one of the illest narrative tracks. And then as ill as that, I remember hearing it the first time, I was like, yo, this story's crazy. But then it ended up being like the second or third best story on the album because it also has Niggas Bleed and I Got a Story to Tell. The nerve of him.
I got a story to tell, bro. The audacity even further to have a Kick in the Door on an album, but then have a Was Beef on an album. One of Diddy's best performances on a song he didn't rap on. He set the tone for that song before Biggie rapped a bar.
Even the Bobby joins bars are just ridiculous.
Do you know what beef is, Dini?
I know what sidewalk beef is.
Son! Again, once I got older and started to really understand rap and I went back, Biggie's album, this double album was so great that it kind of became the standard for rappers. And what I mean is, if Sincere the Rap Snob is one of the best rappers in the world, he owes us a double album because Biggie set the template that in order to get to this, to reach certain levels, hit certain markers, a double album is owed. Fair is fair. Tupac is part of that equation too because he gave it to us.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But the better double album is Life After Death. Argue with your fucking moms.
It is
Don't
what
argue
it is.
with me.
It is what it is.
You know what I'm saying? To give you that, I got a story to tell. The Chris Childs interlude. She wanted me to shit on her stomach. All of this type of shit. Come on. So
after our shits on
the fact that I Love the Dough with Jay-Z wasn't even a single. It was an album cut. And it's one of the most all-time greatest collaborations of all time.
Jay with the locks.
You know what I'm saying? I'm playing the song by accident. Apple Music don't find us. Sky's the limit. Nasty Boy. Then still having the temerity to give you 10 crack commandments to bring it full circle for what Benny did with 10 more commandments. People don't even, they talk about that song individually, not realizing this is all part of one You know how many songs get referenced from this one album?
Going back to Cali and the meaning behind the record.
Cali. I mean, niggas in the NBA, when you go to the finals, you play the Lakers, they play that song.
Bro, he dropped the story joint to start the album. Then he went and talked to the club. Then he went and talked to the heads. The underground heads, kicking the door. Then he went and talked to the ladies on Fucking You Tonight. Then he went just straight street on the locks.
Before Jay-Z and Hov, it was before Jay-Z and Kells, it was Kells and Biggie.
And with real cash.
And then the sequencing, like if you look at the sequencing, it's just like he keeps you think the album is gonna, go one way, and then the next song he takes you in a different direction than what you thought it was gonna be, and then you might be like, oh, I kind of wanted another street joint, but now he's on this club tip. I don't know if I want to hear that, but then the song is so fucking good that it's like, oh, all right, this is actually exactly what I wanted.
Yo, we talked about all of these songs, right? We didn't even talk about the fucking singles.
Bro,
Hypnotized.
Hypnotized.
Song damn near like a single.
And the
more
world,
money, more problems.
The world has played More Money, More Problems into the ground. So, you know what I mean? Like listening to it now, it's like, all right, I've heard this like a bajillion times, but
it needs to be discussed.
I remember the first time hearing it, and I was like, yo, this is just I can't wait for this to be at the party so I can fucking dance to this shit, bro.
Bro, More money, more problems. Set the tone for Mace.
Then he talked to the Midwest, Notorious thugs. Then he got sentimental. A lot of people talk about how Big didn't really get like introspective or sentimental or nothing like that.
Every bar.
That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. You got Juicy, you got Sky's the Limit, you got Miss You, you got Suicidal Thoughts from the first album. What? How much deeper do you want than fucking Suicidal Thoughts?
Every bar Biggie ever rapped came with like a little sense of regret. Like, whereas Jay was this cocky ass nigga and Big could be cocky. Big was definitely big homie who really, he was talking to you. He made you feel like an equal, but don't necessarily do what I did. I had a reason for the shit I did. There was always, maybe not regret, but he had a fucking purpose and a reason.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And he conveyed that with bar after bar after bar. I never got cocky, arrogant from Big. I got swag.
Yeah.
But not super cocky, arrogant, untouchable nigga like Jay. Jay niggas, like when Jay dropped in 96, like, who the fuck is this nigga?
Jay
the nerve to rap like this.
Talk about this.
Right.
Jay upped the ante with that.
Right. Big always let you know what it was. He was the first nigga giving you ground level bars to me from a hustler's perspective.
Introspection, fat and ugly as ever.
Come on.
Right.
However, I stay coochie
But with
down to
that
the
level
socks.
of expertise and production behind them, you know what I mean? Like,
Bro.
And again, I've said this before and I'll say it again. Not enough is said about Big's musicianship.
Yes.
Because the way he rapped was like he was a jazz musician with the timing and the swing and the pocket. It was just absolute. Like if you don't listen to jazz, you might not catch it. You might not get. But if you listen to even like a little bit of like, great jazz, it's that same musicianship that all the jazz legends had. Big had that shit, and he had an OG that was a jazz musician that was teaching them in the hood.
Also, you gotta count in the Caribbean influence, being Jamaican, listening to reggae music, dancehall music.
Just thinking about that too.
All of that tying into the persona that was the Notorious B.I.G. You know what I'm saying? Like this album, 5 mics, like Sin said, if it could be 6, it would be 6. Again, we understand what the culture is. A lot of people want to be contrarians. There's a lot of revisionist history in modern times. But again, a lot of y'all weren't outside, no disrespect. For those who were outside, they knew what that album was. They know what that album is.
It was everything you needed.
It's a pillar of hip hop. Again, if you're a great rapper or you considered a legend or all-timer, you got to give us a double album.
Yeah.
Even Drake knew he had to give us a double album. We didn't ask for it, but he gave it to us.
Mega break.
They all failed.
Come on now. In the passing of Biggie, he couldn't even appreciate what life after death was because he wasn't here. Left a power vacuum in New York City because at that point, New York City essentially was the crown of hip hop. If you were the king of New York, a lot of times you were the king of hip hop during that time frame. These are the facts. I don't make the rules.
It is what it is.
In his passing, Jay-Z ascended. Nas right there. Maybe we're going more on the commercial side, but there was a fight for the throne in New York City. There's a belief amongst many people that had Big not passed, Jay-Z wouldn't have been able to run through that door and ascend to the top spot until Nas knocked him off, and then there was a battle. You could say it's been an ongoing battle to this day for who the king of New York is, right? I guess I want to know from the Rap Roundtable, did Big passing open that door for a Nas, a Jay-Z, or whomever you might feel is the king of New York? Dini, I see you already moving around. You thinking?
Maybe,
what are your thoughts?
Maybe not open the door for the king, because I felt like even in Biggie's own words, he knew Jay was next up. He said it in so many words in his own interview. So I think it was maybe like kind of the way Hov feels about Memphis Bleak. Kind of could be the way Big kind of looked at Hov, like this is the next chosen one, and I'm gonna just show him the ropes.
Said, Memphis Bleak.
I mean, remember when Hov was backing him like he was the next one?
I get what he's saying. It's about like how he felt about him.
This is gonna be the guy that changes the game.
Fair,
I think Biggie's seen it, and he obviously had the vision because Hov changed the game. But that's tough to say, man. Especially with Nas, and there was a lot of other people fighting for rank, But but like, you could look at it kind of like when Jordan left. Would Houston have won if Jordan was still playing? In a sense, it's hard to decide that. Jay was gonna be a star.
But what
regardless.
do you think, Deanie? Like, if you, in your honest opinion, you were there. Biggie passed away, 97.
Mm-hmm.
You looked at what Jay-Z was at the point of 97 Hove, and what he became 98 and going forward. Do you think that Jay could have reached these levels with a Big around?
Yeah, I do. Because I think Big would have been pushing him.
Bro.
It wouldn't have been
That's
resistance.
crazy,
it would have
bro.
been help. Big would have showed him the ropes. Biggs would have got him in through the doors.
Jump in, son.
Let me chime in real quick,
Talk to me.
because I've heard people say that if they're both still in the game and both vying for that number one spot, because there's only one number one spot and everybody wants it. Do they get along, or do they start beefing? What if? And I don't want to, I want to say like real beef, but
Lyrical.
I mean,
Competitive.
Like the competitive spirit. They both gonna want to be number one. Big had the number one spot. Hove doesn't strike me as the type to just be like, you can have number one. I'll be like right behind you. No, Hove would have wanted that number one spot too. So
Hove always wanted to be
it's
number
possible
one,
they,
so.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they collaborated early on, but as they're both vying for that supremacy, it might have turned a little chippy.
What about the Nas of it all though? Because Nas and Big were active before Jay-Z dropped his first album. Illmatic had already come out. Life After Death. I mean, Ready to Die had already come out. Where does Nas fall in this equation of King of New York post Biggie?
So,
Let's say Big is alive. I think Nas has more of a role in blocking Jay-Z than Big does.
I would like to think, even though I just laid out the scenario of Big and Hove possibly going at it for the throne, I would like to believe that being Brooklyn brethren, being so similar in their styles, but neither one of them, they famously did not write their bars. Like, it's been said that like, they were both in studio sessions and they looked at each other like the Spider-Man meme. Oh, you don't write? I don't write either. You too? So I would hope that they would have joined forces and become like this monster.
The Commission?
Yeah, the Commission was in the talks. They would have become this Brooklyn superpower, but then that would have left Nas in. They're gonna hate me. Y'all gonna kill me out there. But that would have left Nas kind of out in the dark.
What about Nas versus Wu?
But
Nas and Wu. I mean, not verse, but Nas and Wu.
right. To me, I think that if Jay and Big join forces, the way I laid it out, Nas might not feel the pressure that he felt in the late 90s to fill that lane. Because let's be real, like Nas did a lot of stuff that, he looked kind of awkward doing.
Cowboy hat.
He made some songs where he sounded really awkward. You know what I mean? And this is, again, don't shoot at me out there, but these are facts. In '99, I Am and Nostradamus, there was some awkward material in that year, in that era. But I think maybe Nas kind of takes a step back and says, "Damn, Hove and Big got this lane locked up. Let me just focus on what I know that I'm great at, and maybe we don't get like a Dr. Knock Boots, or we don't get a Nostradamus, or we don't get a KISSING. You know what I mean? We don't get those songs where he's clearly trying to like, push himself into a position that he didn't belong in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe we might have gotten some more authentic Nas music out of him in the late 90s.
I don't know. I disagree. I think Nas would have done the same thing because, again, did he? I'm a little drunk. Biggie was part of the shiny suit era. Well, the precursor to with some of those singles. I guess my question would be, how shiny would the suits be if Big was still alive? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't wear the shiny suit. But the sound was what it was, and Nas would have felt the need to move units. Because Big would have sold records. Let's say he don't go diamond if he passes away. He doesn't pass away. That album was still a 6-7 time platinum album on its own.
Right.
Because the singles,
It's hard.
the first 2 singles by itself were smashes. And the thing is like, we talk about momentum. Everything he did prior to the lead up to Life After Death spoke to a massive smash hit, Hypnotize. The video was crazy, super cinematic. I think Nas would have felt the pressure to compete to move units because not necessarily himself, be clear, but the label.
The label, the management.
Yeah.
I
Steve
think
Style.
Nas would have still fought that shit though.
I'm willing to bet he fought it when he made I Am and Nostradamus,
Yeah.
but the label wanted what they wanted. You think Nas in his right mind's making fucking KISSING? Get the fuck out of here.
I'm like the only person that likes that song.
You gotta be.
It's not a bad song.
No, it's a bad song, guys.
It's just not a
That's
Nas song.
It's a bad song.
Okay, fine.
There you go. Keep it a buck.
We would have probably got more Hate Me Now energy. Maybe somewhere in that pocket.
Yeah.
Like more of an aggressive Esco as opposed to sappy
He used
Esco.
to work with
Yeah.
Diddy more back
But
then.
even that, like I love Hate Me Now,
It's
the
amazing.
song. But the video with the leather, with the no shirt.
But that was a
and-
moment in time.
That's
That was
and
hip hop
that
at that
was
time.
necessary
Yeah,
for that.
but
That
I
was necessary
still
back then.
always felt like Nas looks
Niggas
a
was
little.
wearing baggy leather, bro.
Yeah,
That was the thing back
Nas
then.
looks a little out of his element, man. He must have, I don't know. He
You know
must
what
have
I
been drunk off the Henny or some shit, feeling super wild.
I'll jump in with the actual topic response and say, if Big is still alive, I don't think Jay-Z becomes king of New York. You won't have interviews where you'll hear Jadakiss calling him big homie and all that because these things happen.
Yeah.
Biggie would still be the clear-cut number one because New York respects greatness. It would have been hard. Jay-Z would have had to have done something really immaculate to move Big off that spot had Big not passed. So I'll say Big would have been number one. I think there would have been to Sin's point, there would have been a conversation to be had between Big and Esco. I think that the battle that we got with Nas and Jay-Z would have been Big and Jay-Z because they were already knocking on each other's door. They were calling each other's phones. There were shots fired. And I think the whole idea of the Wu-Tang Syndicate, especially like Raekwon, Ghostface specifically, I think you got Nas, Jay-Z and Biggie and whoever else would have come up during that time. We would have got some bars exchanged. What became Nas and Jay-Z, Beanie Siegel versus Jadakiss would have been that. Some underlings versus the Wu Shoguns. I think we would have got that.
I always felt like Biggie wanted to like put his people on and kind of make a run.
For
You know what
sure,
I'm saying?
but the competitive spirit was already, they was already trading shots. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It would have come to a head because New York City was what it was back then. There needed to be a clear-cut number one, and there would have been a battle. Because Pac would have been gone, rest in peace. New York would have been the epicenter of hip-hop, and people would have argued that
Biggie,
Nas is
Jay-Z,
number
and Nas,
one,
yeah.
Big is number one. The Diddy element would have helped matters for Big with the record sales, but I think that these guys would have traded bars. It probably would have been a better battle than Nas versus Jay-Z because I think, imagine what Big would have been by like a 2001, 2002 as far as skill level.
The Subliminals would have been immaculate.
Holy shit. So I'll say Big would have been number one. But my caveat would be the same way X could have come in and moved his units, big units, while Jay-Z was moving his units. I think Jay could have blown up. He could have sold records. He could have been a megastar, but he just wouldn't have been number one. But the question I would have is, who would win between Nas and Biggie if they would have traded bars?
Biggie.
Sincere. Think about it. Fake Nas fan.
Now they're gonna shoot at me. Big was
The wittiness,
he was
man.
too much of a force. Too much of a force. Nas, his lyricism is unmatched, but Big is just too much of a force.
A lot more likable than Jay-Z too.
The voice, just the voice alone, it fucking sounds like there's a fucking thunderstorm about to like descend on you. The wittiness.
But you don't think he could have eaten Big? Think about how he talked about Jay. The fat jokes for Big. The breathing, how he breathed so heavy on the songs. Nas could have had some shit for him.
He could have. It's also it's hard for me to imagine because, you know, I mean, it's all, you know, a parallel universe.
Yeah.
In reality,
A lot
like
of what ifs.
Yeah, in reality, you know, he passed away, so it's hard for me to think of like, snaps or lines.
Because Big would have had a bar about that chip tooth. It
Yeah, absolutely. But like, you know what I mean? Like anything disrespectful said about Big, it's hard for me to even really think about it because, yeah. But it would have been interesting.
I mean, I'm now that we're talking about it, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get that.
Yeah.
Would there be a DMX?
What I'm also thinking,
or Big on a Swiss beat?
Wow, Big on a Swiss beat. That was another thing that I heard. Shout out to Kill in the Apartment 5B podcast. As a producer, this is his point. This is absolutely Kill's point. You have a folder and then a B folder. You know what I mean? He said that all the big producers might have saved the A folder for Big and maybe given Jay some of the B folder.
I disagree with that because we still had DMX and Jay-Z. And they
That's
both
true.
got fired.
They both got
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What I think about a lot though is the Brooklyn Queens dynamic. If Big and Hove are both superpowers in Brooklyn, but then you have Nas and Prodigy in Queens. And if shit pops off, and again, the way shit ended up happening,
Queensbridge versus Brooklyn.
Yeah, like
Yikes.
Nas and Prodigy ended up like having their issues separately. But I mean, if we're talking what ifs, you know what I mean?
I'm going with Big and Hove.
Big and Hove versus Nas and Prodigy. Brooklyn
Nas
versus
and
Queens. Man,
listen, we can talk about this.
What if?
Too witty between Hove and such charisma. It's hard to beat that, bro.
It would have been difficult to beat Jay-Z.
But honestly, P's venom.
P's spicy with it.
He's venomous, bro.
Venomous, but P was declining by early, like 02, 03. P faded hard, and I love P.
Yeah, I mean,
But yeah, it was Infamy.
but I'm talking about
Infamy, that was
I'm talking 98, 99.
Infamy was like 2003.
And I don't know, but
I don't remember.
But no, those albums.
I like those albums. Infamy was
Clearly, but
he peaked at HNIC.
01.
I think.
At
HNIC
the peak of his powers was HNIC.
Yeah.
Mega power. And then it started to do this.
And then Takeover.
And at that point, at a certain point, Havoc got better than Prodigy. Rest in peace, Prodigy, one of my favorite rappers.
Infamy.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we gotta move on before we get kicked out the studio. March power rankings, fellas. There's been a slight shakeup in the power rankings list. People, please don't get upset. Don't get in your feelings. The power rankings list is about who's hot right now. I feel like we have to explain this before every time we drop this list because niggas swear we be hating when it's just
your weapons.
We giving you the fucking instruction manual. Read the manual. It's about who's hot right now. Not who's the best rapper, who got more bars, who dropped what, who's hot, who's getting the clicks. In this digital era, in the streaming era, it's about who's getting the clicks. So the power rankings are what they are. At number 5, he dropped God Don't Make Mistakes. Some argue the album is good. We think it's just okay. But we know that he's probably the most gifted rapper, the nicest rapper, depending on who you ask, right now. La Machina, Conway the Machine, number 5. Anybody want to chime in on why they feel like he belongs on that top 5 list this month?
For the lyrical work he did on God Don't Make Mistakes, and a beautiful verse on Tyson vs. Ali on the Tana Talk 4 album.
Oh yeah,
did his thing.
This is your man. Anything you want to add? No pressure.
Listen, the album is what it is, and we thought about it what we did, but it's still it's something that's talked about a lot. I see it talked about a lot on Twitter. I see the posts on Instagram. Regardless of what you thought of the album, if it lived up to the expectations or not, it's getting talked about. It's something that is part of a grander conversation out there. So
fair is fair. Shout out to La Machina himself, and I feel like we'll probably get another project from him later this year because that's just how Griselda works.
Yep.
They're gonna give you 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 projects in a year. You know what I mean?
On the way.
Right. That's gonna be fire.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's gonna be an album of the year conversations. Number 4 on the Rap Roundtable Power Ranking list, we have Lil Durk. one of the biggest artists of 2021.
Young Dirk,
I feel he's beefing with
NBA
Young Boy. He just did the Drink Champ. Well, not the Drink Champs. $1 million worth of game podcast. Yep. He's on fire. Sin, I want to ask you about Dirk because I know that's not your lane. Deanie, what are your thoughts on Lil Durk this month being number 4 on our power rankings list?
Just doing his things, man. Interviews after interviews, running up the board. Just dropped his album 7-2-20. It's got the Aha joint dissing NBA YoungBoy, which is a good listen. It's got just dropped the shit with Future, Petty 2. It's actually pretty fire. I gave the album a spin before I got here.
Okay.
Very vibey, good car music, club vibes.
Sin
will like it.
You know what? I know the heads of the Watch Out Pod, they might feel away, but again, we're one of the most objective podcasts on the internet. Believe it or not, we call it how we see it. Number 3 on our power rankings list, we have Kanye West. Sincere talked to us about why Ye is number 3.
Listen, apparently Down to 2 dropped. I wouldn't know because I don't have a stem player.
The fuck are you talking about?
But it's out there. People are talking about it. It's heavily talked about. But even beyond like the actual album, mad people talking about the stem player. He's got the documentary running up on Netflix.
This shit up.
Hey, listen. Kanye always finds a way to get himself in the headlines and get people talking about him. But I mean, we had the bigger conversation about the stem player in the last episode. And feel how you feel about like the price tag on it, and the fact that it's just it's only his album or albums that's on it, but it creates a bigger conversation about like artists taking control and ownership of their material. So, I mean, Kanye, he's always gonna be on that line. Some people gonna think he's crazy, some people gonna think he's brilliant, and that's how he stays on everybody's lips. Pause. So number 3 on our power rankings.
I can't add too much to that. I don't know, Deanie, you got anything to add to that, but that's pretty straight on.
Just give him his respect for being an innovator, trendsetter, always moving the needle,
I'll say that I don't even know if Donda 2 is ever going to happen now. I'm on the fence at this point. Is there a Donda 2? What is it? Is Future still producing it? So many questions but no answers. Number 2 on the Rap Roundtable Power Rankings list, we have Pusha T.
Push.
Yeah.
Hear Me Clearly drop. Super fire. Blows Diet Coke out of the water.
Blows.
It does. It does.
Diet
you know
Coke
it does.
Fire, bro.
Well, this is Blue Flame, like I said earlier in the episode. It's not close.
Yoga Flame.
He smoked it. Go ahead, Sid.
To me, 2 fire singles. I am absolutely souped, amped for the album. Pharrell's out there talking about it. Talking about, I don't want Pusha T being a mixtape rapper his whole life. Kind of standards a little bit.
Last album was a classic. What are you talking about?
Yeah, listen. But yeah, I mean, the rollout is in full swing. I'm really amped for the album. 2 fire singles. I'm here for it. Danny?
Like I said last time, man, on 41, man, Pusha T fan since 98, man, and it hasn't given me a reason to not be a fan since. Keep up the good work, brother.
Listen, on Hear Me Clearly, right? If you're a rap fan, that's some of the best rapping. The first verse specifically. That is some of the best technical rap. Bar work, voice control, breathing, bars, charisma you've ever heard in your life. And I'm not even overselling it.
Tap in.
That's the craziest part about it. I'm not overselling it. This motherfucker, how are you still getting better?
It's crazy. Hear Me Clearly is top notch.
Listen, I appreciate everything Pusha is doing, but even with all that said, he is not number 1. Number 1 for this month, it should be really fucking obvious.
Yes.
Tana Talk 4 is out now.
Yes,
Butcher
sir.
coming, nigga.
The nigga dropped the LA Leakers freestyle.
And blacked on it.
Blacked. Number 1 on the Rap Roundtable Power Rankings list. Deservedly so. Benny the Butcher. Sincere.
Listen, man, I was the first one to bring Griselda to this table to see what Benny's doing, see what everybody's doing. But like right now, Benny, his run right now, he just dropped Tana Talk 4. And that's not even his Def Jam debut. We still got that coming. Benny is on a hell of a run right now, man. And I'm buying all the stock.
what can I say, man? Tana Talk 4, chart placements, better production, sound quality, a future star on the way. Def Jam album gonna be coming out soon. They say soon.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure it'll drop this year.
I'm looking out for more Benny, and he's kind of started to inch his way over towards my Conway side. You know what I'm saying? Because I got Conway as my favorite rapper in the Griselda camp, but he's making his way over, man. I am a believer in Benny. The album is fire, and he's just making his run, man.
I look at Benny the Butcher right now, and we mentioned it earlier. We mentioned it in a reaction. He's getting better. He you know what it is? It's like they've continuously raised the bar. They've made us more, I would say, positive about where the culture is. To me, they are the antithesis to what that XSL class was that had Lil Yachty and the rest of them on there. Some of them made it through, like 21 made it through, Kodak made it through, but a lot of them didn't make it through.
Uzi, was it Uzi?
But yeah, Uzi's in that class, you're right. Yeah. But outside of those three, a lot of guys
fell off the map.
But to me, the response to that class at the time was Griselda. Them snatching the culture back, them making a way, and seeing Benny do what he's doing at the highest level possible and getting better. Who else could be number one? You've been telling us about Tana Talk 4 since the fourth quarter last year. You know what I mean? Even however you feel about it, he delivered it, and he is getting better. I'm excited for the Def Jam debut. Yes. He got a million plus on the advance. Def Jam through the bag in an era where motherfuckers are getting 200,000-300,000 on advances.
If that.
He got a fucking million plus.
Yes. He's getting hugs in a chain.
Snoop Dogg's most important signing. I'm fully expecting Hit Boy to be all over that project. The premier producer in the game right now is Hit Boy.
Yo, and the shit to bring it full circle. Benny put the 10 more commandments, nod to
paying fucking homage
to Biggie, to Life After Death, which we talked about extensively. I'm looking forward to that Def Jam debut because if he's as smart as I think he is, he's going to enlist all the producers that he's worked with and that he's made all the heat with. Hit Boy, yes, Harry Fraud, Derringer, Alchemist, get all the motherfuckers. Get them all on the album. Wouldn't that be something?
Harry Fraud, Alchemist, Derringer, Hit Boy.
All of them.
We talked about
all
on a Def Jam debut.
Get the right people in that room.
You know what? Before we go, Sin, you made a point and I forgot. Busy rambling about Biggie. Every time we talk about artists dropping albums and they get super producers together, and there'd be a lot of hype behind that. Ready to Die is the only album where super producers got together and delivered it at the level of the hype.
Right.
I'll say that. I hope Benny does this. Yes. I want him to continue to win because if he wins, we win. The culture wins.
That's a fact.
For sure.
I got some bad news, though. This is the first episode in history where we're not kicking anybody over Sincere's lawn. Apparently, the last episode, they were too much.
I just want to take this opportunity again. Rest in peace. Shout out to Big. All March long. You know what I mean? He passed away March 9th. Life After Death came out March 25th. 25 years. But also a rest in peace shout out. I'm wearing the shirt in his honor. Bo Can't Rap. Yes, Phife Dawg from Tribe Called Quest. He also passed away in March 22nd, if I'm not mistaken. Just rest in peace to the legends. I always like to keep their spirit alive. You know what I mean? So,
positive vibes.
And shout out to Carlos, Classic Material. I'm always wearing his stuff. I always tag him on the Instagram posts and whatnot. But I just wanted to give him a real shout out at the table. Carlos, you always keep me decked out in heat. Always making dope shit. Salute.
Dini, take us home, bro.
Yo, you know the vibes, man. Shout out to the homie Macito. He couldn't be here with us tonight, but he's always here in the spirit. Shout out to Josh, keeping us engineered out. Shout out to Sincere, the rap snob. Tap in and get them beats, man. You hear what's playing right now. Shout out to Jav, the point guard, always keeping the facilitating on point. I am Dini the Balance. We are the Rap Roundtable. I'm Smack, and we're out.
Yes, sir.